It's on the share drive.
I know, but I can't get to it.
Oh, it's all like that.
What?
They're all Xed out.
I know, I'm trying to figure.
That happened to me today too.
I guess I'm not gonna be able to pull up Verna's report, but otherwise I'm ready.
3 o'clock, we'll call the finance committee to order. Approval of the minutes for October 17th, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Coggins, is there a second?
I will second.
Second by Mr. Meyer. That's approved. Public comment limited to 3 minutes per person with a maximum public comment of 30 minutes on agenda items only. Public comment. Don't see any public comments, or public comments closed. Discussion possible motion. Health and human, sorry, I was gonna jump down and put Vern up to the top. Is everybody okay with that?
Are we gonna vote on the minutes?
We already did. All in favor, aye.
Yeah, you do not.
All in favor, aye.
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 All opposed? All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Sorry, my bad.
Ryan, the chair stands corrected.
Alright, treasurer's report.
What do you need to know?
We're doing well.
We're spending money. So our, pool has been going down in interest. It's now down to 4.93, it was at 540. 2 at the highest in June and kind of stayed that way. Now it's down to 493. I think it's probably still gonna keep going down. So the CDs have been going down as well. There were some nicer ones in ADM, but they're already with banks that we're with. So, you know, they can't do the FDIC on those. But we still got plenty invested in there. I guess I don't know what else there would be to say. We're just like, you know, not bringing in a lot of money now. Taxes, we're calculating and we'll be setting out in a month, and then the money will start rolling in.
Anybody got any questions? None being heard? Alright, back up to the top. Health and Human Services, Child Support Specialist reclassification.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for allowing us to come to our favorite Finance Committee meeting in Rusk County. Thank you, thank you. Streamlined process here that we've had. Our ask is, and has been through the Human Services Committee and the Personnel Committee. We are asking that effective 1/1/2025, that Carla Murray, who is an existing child support specialist, would be reclassed from a grade 7, step 4, to a child support specialist 2, grade 8, step 1. The fiscal impact is 15 cents per hour, which culminates to $302.25, of which 66% is reimbursed through the child support granting through general purpose revenue at the state. That being said, that's our ask. Carla has been with us for 2 years. Our JDQ process and our job description at the time determined that we had really 3 classifications in child support. Child support specialist, which is an entry level. Child support specialist 2, which really the main difference was years of experience. If somebody did not have any years of experience, after 2 years, they could become a child support specialist 2, they'd be eligible for that. And then we have a lead child support specialist, Janice Zimmer, who's been with us for 40 years. And so, that is our ask today. We do have a second step to this process, is that we will work with Ashley Goodis to eliminate one of those, portions of classification. We'll either get rid of the child support specialist entry level or the two and incorporate everything into one so we can streamline that a little bit, so we don't have to be back here again, for something like this. So, that is our ask today. Like I said, the fiscal impact is $302.25. 66% of that is paid for through, or available for reimbursement through our granting at the GPR level at the state. If you guys and gals approve it today, we would move to a resolution before the county board sometime in December for a 1/1 start to 25. Charlie, did I miss anything? Nope, we just do everything one time.
So from a grade 7, step 4 to a grade,
8, step 1.
thank you.
If you like the dollar amounts, it's $20.91 on step 4 to $21.06 on step 1 on grade 8.
Questions?
So really the county, the impact to the county is really only a little over $100.
Correct, plus any payroll tax and, the
Yeah.
roll-ups and that kind of stuff.
I move to approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Coggins, is there a second? I'll second. For reclassification. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Hope you have a good rest of your meeting. Take care.
You too. Service transfer agreement with City of Ladysmith regarding the animal shelter.
Okay, so, during the very tail end of the budget process, we were notified that the city was not gonna contribute to the animal shelter for 2025, and so we put our heads together and to figure out how we could keep the operations going for the animal shelter as they currently are. And, there's a provision in the levy limit worksheet to where the county could increase their property taxes, when transferring services, taking in services transferred from another entity, and then the city would decrease theirs for services transferred to another entity, because, the city's contribution to the animal shelter was included in their levy when levy limits were put into place, and so by them not contributing their 40% to the animal shelter, they are essentially eliminating a service that they used to provide. So, we had contacted the Wisconsin Counties Association, who thought that that was also correct, and recommended that we reach out to the Department of Revenue, and during our budget, hearing is when they got back to us and said, confirmed that yes, this would qualify for that. So, the Department of Revenue also reached out to the city, and we worked with the city, and they will be decreasing their levy by $58,008, and so we can increase our levy limit by that same amount. So this requires us to fill out a notice of service transfer agreement, that Tony and I worked on together. But what we also need in place is an agreement for this transfer service. So, Alan from the city had recommended that our attorneys work together on it, but Rich would like you guys to give him direction to do that before he works with the city's court council on that.
Any questions?
Is there any reason why we would not do this?
No,
At
it's
this point, that
pretty much
part's
just a step with the
formality.
Department of Revenue,
Yeah.
so that both acknowledge that, one, they're primarily so that the city realizes that they're decreasing their rate.
Do you need a motion on this?
Motion to direct Rich
To work with
to
the cities.
work with the city's attorney to draft a
The transfer services.
transfer of services.
Make a motion for Mr. Summerfield to work with the city to draft the transfer services plan.
Motion by Mr. Meyer, is there a second? Second by Mr. Lightweight, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
I think one thing should be thanks to Jamie for finding this out and doing all the work on that. Otherwise, we would have gotten this.
Number three, litigation against previous ambulance billing company.
So I don't know that we need to go into closed session.
I was just gonna ask him.
Yeah, an update, we made leaps and bounds progress in the last 3 weeks. So I drafted a lawsuit and I shipped it to him and said, I'm going to file this next week if you don't get back to me. So he's now getting back, he's still not as responsive as we would like him to be. So we've solved one problem with getting the information from
the TriTech billing software.
TriTech billing software, and then Jamie just on Tuesday said, yes, that is one part of it, and then she gave a list of 4 additional items that we need, that just happened on Tuesday, I believe.
Yeah, well, he said he was gonna provide those when we talked to him on the phone 2
Correct,
days ago. but-
Right, so at this juncture, I don't want to do, if you're all right with that update, I will report back hopefully in a month that this is, or not report at all and say it's all done.
Works for me.
Yeah.
Good.
We don't need to do that.
Nope, nothing at all then.
Sounds good, thank you very much.
Alright.
Number four, approval of entries in victim witness hours from district attorney's office.
So, I'm Crystal, and you know who I am. I work at the district attorney's office. Basically, what's going on is, as I'm sure you're all aware, the DA's office is required to provide victim witness services. This is required by statute, we have to do this full-time, whether the courthouse is open or not, because there's court scheduled all week. And with that, because it's required by statute, we are reimbursed a certain amount after the fact. That position currently is staffed by Nancy Hahn. In previous years, for quite some time, we've had a really good working relationship with the sheriff's office, where she's been working under our victim witness position for 5 hours a day, and then 3 hours a day in the sheriff's office under a VOCA grant. This year, VOCA grant funds across the state were greatly decreased. Her grant award for that ended up going from 41,000 down to 13,000. So her position downstairs is basically, there's a lot less money for that. However, because we always had her in the building for jury trials and things, we had a great working relationship where she could be upstairs when we needed her and flex her hours between the 2 positions. Basically, we still need her in the building for that position. But in order to maximize the funding we have available, what we're proposing, and this did pass through personnel, is to increase her hours upstairs from the 5 hours to 7.75 when the VOCA grant is expended. There are requirements on both positions that are very specific, so like her upstairs hours cannot have anything to do with any kind of grant or they won't be reimbursed. So we wanna make sure that we don't increase those till after that downstairs grant is expended. We expect that'll run out sometime in January of this year, that those funds will be expended. And by moving her upstairs at that time, it'll be moving her from 8 hours to 7.75 hours, but it'll be just in the DA's office. Then all of those hours would be eligible for that state reimbursement rate. Right now, the reimbursement rate is something that we don't find out till after the fact. It's not something that's set in stone ahead of time, and it has been variable over the years. The lowest year ever was during COVID, it was 38%. However, it has fluctuated up to a high of 75% in the past. So it is something that moves around. Earlier this year, our number came back for the January to May portion, so we didn't have that when we were doing the budget. That came back at 55.68%. right now, what we've been doing in past years, just for the fiscal impact, in past years, we always budgeted at 40% so that we knew it was an amount that we would most likely get. Although like this year where it was at almost 56%, we got reimbursed at a higher rate. What that means for our bottom line is, although we can't guarantee this, if we let her stay downstairs with things as is until that FOCA grant runs out in the sheriff's office, then switch her upstairs, worst case scenario, if it's the 40% reimbursement, it would be an impact of 17,000 upstairs, because she would only be reimbursed at that rate. However, if it's the same amount as what we got earlier this year, that's all the way down to 3,000, that would cost us more than what we have right now budgeted in our line. And the state crime victim witness is anticipating that by 2026, it will be a 60% minimum for all counties. Now, it isn't that set in stone yet, it's at the 55 and they anticipate it's going up. We would break even at about 59% reimbursement. But again, we can't guarantee that ahead of time. What we do know though, is that we need to have someone available to do those things. And if we don't have her, if we don't have those hours being filled under her particular position, then the hours that the rest of us are doing are not reimbursed at that rate. And by losing someone doing that amount of work, we're gonna end up incurring overtime for trials and things where we need to have the same consistent person with victims and things for jury trials and stuff, so potentially would end up costing us more if we don't fill this route. So the actual bottom line proposal is just that when the VOCA grant in the sheriff's office, when those funds are fully expended, which we believe will be sometime in January, that we increase her hours officially in the DA's office from 5 to 7.75, so that that position is fully eligible for that state reimbursement. Does anyone have any questions?
So if I'm understanding you correctly, the only person you can reimburse to the state is the person that has that title, somebody else is doing the position.
Correct, and it's not the type, well, yes, that is correct. There's a lot of things that we are required to do, but then there's also things that she's not allowed to do in that position. So it is a very narrow focus of what that is reimbursed, and so by having it under that title with that particular job description, JD2, everything that way, that's what makes it eligible for that.
So she's at 5 hours, you said right now?
She's at 5 hours in our office right now,
So she increases by
2.75. Which would be a decrease from her total hours now, but it would put her even with what the standard hours are for everyone else in the department.
The grant that covered her time, is currently covering her time in the sheriff's department, that fully funds those 3 hours that she works there?
I am not sure about that, I believe so, and I know the reason this is coming up now is because the grant year on that started October 1st, so that's why we're at personnel in October. But so with that grant year starting October 1st, and her getting about a quarter to a third of what she normally would, that's why we're anticipating sometime mid-January is when those funds would be expended.
Okay, that makes more sense.
And I know the sheriff's office did not include it in their budget for next year, just anticipating that that was how that was going to work out.
So Jamie, did they, in the sheriff's budget, did they fund that position, did they include that position the rest of the year?
I don't remember them bringing that up during the meeting. They did include that with the grant in their budget for 2025, so I don't.
So we didn't get those numbers till the beginning of October is when that next year grant, so they may have not known in July when budget. I was under the impression that if the grant did come through, they did put it in for 2025, but either way, I know that the amount she was awarded was 13,320 instead of the 41,022 they anticipated.
Not sure, so didn't say anything.
What's a mandated service? I mean,
It is, and our office has to do it regardless, it's just, if we do it through that position, then we have those funds
It'll cost us
reimbursable.
less.
It'll cost us a lot less.
So if you're saying, if I understood those last numbers correctly, 13,
This is the first time,
the
Yeah, I haven't
difference
had
would
a
be
chance to-
28
Well,
for the whole year in this position?
So in
Less than that, because
October
it's
of this year, so she's already started in October for 3 hours down there. So the money under that grant, what she was awarded, will be running out early January. So then anything that they had anticipated in their budget that would be funded by the grant, that grant money isn't going to exist. So in order to keep it clean, the intent is at the end of that then is when we would switch the hours. That way we can fully take advantage of both revenue sources without jeopardizing either one.
So you want this to take effect?
We want this to take effect when the VOCA grant is fully expended, which we're anticipating mid-January. I just don't know, I mean, we could put a certain date if you wanted, but I don't know what is gonna be closest, so I was hoping by leaving it to that, then they can just between.
So this is gonna have to come out of contingency, correct?
Well, the hope is that we will break even at 50, if our reimbursement is 59%, we would break even where it won't cost the county anything more than what we already were planning. It's
Okay.
just that we will not find out that reimbursement rate till after the fact. It's not like a grant where we get this amount of money, we submit the expenses to the state, they reimburse, and it's variable, so. The last 30-year average was 57%. At 59%, we break even, and there's no extra cost at all. Just
And
can't
then when
guarantee
you
that.
anticipate you'll know that number?
After the fact, that's the unfortunate part,
So after you bill it
After we bill
quarterly,
it.
or how do you?
they bill it, I think it's every 5 months, it's odd, it's not a nice, simple, easy thing, so that's where in midsummer, we found out that the January to May reimbursement was 55.68%. Now, they are projecting with the different things that the governor has said and put in, and are in the works, that number's gonna be increasing. But again, that's no guarantee either, so I don't wanna make any promises that way. But if we're even to stay even with that for the rest of going forward, that would only be an extra cost of $3,000 for the year. To have her go from 5 to 7.75 full-time for the year.
In best case scenario,
And best case scenario would be even less.
0, yeah. Sorry.
According to our budget document, the sheriff did budget for this, so $5,400 was approved for levy. And if that, is going away, then I guess you could argue that there's $5,400 that could go.
yeah, I'm a little confused as to why the
I
sheriff's
believe-
department didn't bring this forward,
Right.
but.
Well, they knew I was here talking, so I'm guessing that's it, and I'm guessing that's for the match for the grant.
Yep, correct.
So if we need to, can this money be transferred to the sheriff's budget for this, or?
It depends, well, that would require a full-blown budget amendment. You guys can approve contingency as long as the total expenditures aren't in excess of more than 10% of their budget. So, looking at the budgets.
And this technically on our DA budget, it's a separate line for the crime victim witness.
Well, I guess my question is, I don't wanna take it out of contingency if it's budgeted somewhere.
So,
right,
yeah, well, and you guys would only be able to approve, so the total expenditures budgeted for 2025 in the crime victim witness they're $59,369, so you guys would only be able to approve a contingency transfer of up to $5,936.90.
which covers,
My anticipation, again,
right,
can't
here,
make promises, but yeah, and it might even break even, that's our actual anticipation, but again, we did see the
Well, I'm
money.
talking expenditures though.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the expenditures, then for wages, when the wages go up, then it would go up more than that, it's just that then it would be reimbursed.
So it's probably gonna require a budget amendment regardless.
Unless, and I don't know if this would otherwise, so in that budget, is that reimbursement rate line where we conservatively budgeted at 40%, is that something that we can?
Well, that would be a budget amendment as well. Because your expenses would go up by more than $6,000 total.
Do we need to act other than hours right now, or do we need to have a dollar amount with this? I mean, how do you put a dollar amount to it? It almost looks like it's something we need to fix after the fact. To know where you're at, right?
Yeah, as far as the financing of it, yeah.
Or like you said, you're just gonna have to have some money for contingency to put towards it. But that we may not need, that's get it tied up.
Right, well, I'm just thinking, it's gonna require a budget amendment anyway. Because it's gonna be over that 10% of your expenditures. Cause even if the reimbursement is more than 40%, you're going to have more than $6,000 of additional expenditures in that budget that wasn't originally intended. So it might, your contingency transfer might be less than $6,000, but the amount that they're gonna be over budget is going to be more than that, as far as the expenditures go.
No, because they do reimburse, not just once a year, by the middle of next year, we would know what the first part of the year reimbursement rate is, that would, I don't know what that, not like we have to go the full year before we find out, but,
And then the
I don't know
second,
what that
you
helps
kinda
us.
get, like now,
I'm sorry?
you kinda get the second one like around November-ish.
I would have to check with her, I believe so, because the first set was from January to May, so,
Should've been,
yeah, it should be.
should've billed again beginning of
Any time
November
now,
or
it should
something.
be coming through if it hasn't already, I haven't seen it come through as a check yet, but,
Yeah, I would say, it's gonna go to full board anyway, so might as well, request a budget amendment right away with that. And then, and then you'll have to come up with a calculation of what you could increase that state aid by and what would be needed out of contingency for it.
That's kinda hard to do when you don't know the,
so if I'm understanding it right, what we would do is we would do a budget amendment to change her wages from what her wages are, 5 hours to 7.75, and then adjust just a different guess of what we think the reimbursement is going to be based off of
And then
this year, maybe instead of the 30-year average, or,
yeah, it's
And
more
then,
curve.
yeah, and use that to figure out how much would be out of contingency, and then the whole board can just approve that.
okay, cause if we did that, then it would be, just go with the number, our most recent number, which was the 55%, so then it would only be an actual increase of about $3,000 for the year.
And as part of that budget amendment, we could figure out how much of that levy is going to be unused from the, crime victim witness, or VOCA,
Victim service specialist.
Yeah. and transfer that as part of it too, so that it wouldn't be necessarily coming out of contingency.
Okay.
So do we need action to forward this to the full board? That's what we
5, approval of renewal of open meeting software.
So that is software used by county board. Budget for $700, annual subscription. Software license, customer support.
Just year to year.
Yeah.
Is that going up from last year's?
A little bit. I know you're gonna ask me that. If you look at the budget. They did do some fixes, but obviously they had problems with the end, so.
And that was already in the budget anyway, right?
Yeah, I just wanted your blessing.
What is the dollar amount?
3,500.
Guess I'll entertain a motion to approve the renewal for open meeting software for 3,500.
Is that on a calendar year?
Yes, 12 months. That's the one that's up on the screen. You guys can show up until,
Oh, okay,
it's
alright,
that one,
okay.
yeah. It's for county board.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Coggins, is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Ludwig, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Number 6, approve the renewal of debt books software.
Okay, so this software is for, tracking and calculation of entries for leases. There's a new accounting standard that came out a couple years ago where they have to be accounted for differently, so this software helps us track it and calculate it. They offer 2 different renewal quotes, one's just for 1 year and one's for 3 years locked in at the same rate for each of those 3 years. If we just do the 1 year, it could increase, and the amount presented is just under $300 more than what we paid last year.
Pay last year.
$5,850.
What's the 3 year?
$6,142.50 for each year. So the 1 year is just 1 year renewal at the $6,142.50. If we sign for 3 years, then it's that.
And it
for those
stays
3
the
years.
same for 3 years. You said it went up 300 from last year?
Yeah.
Previously, we just had a 1-year agreement?
Yeah, so we've only had this software for 2 years, so the first 2 years was the 5,850.
Did it go up from the first year to the second year?
We're 100% sure we're gonna be happy with this 2 years from now. I'm just asking because once one, we
The
got
only thing I
something
could see
long-term.
changing is maybe the number of leases that we have.
But is it good software, is it
Yeah.
user friendly, does it do what you want it to do?
Yeah, and the part of the reason why it went up too is that there was another standard that came out. So when we first got it, the only standard that was applicable was GASB 87, which was specific to leases. And then GASB 96 came out, which is specific to subscriptions, so there was another module added to it, so that's part of the reason why it increased, is because the services that they're providing also increased.
So you're asking for renewal for 1 year or for 3 years? It's the same
Yeah.
amount.
Yeah. Honestly, if you do it for 1 year, then I don't have to put it in as a subscription, but
Well, if it's,
yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
but it could save us money.
Yeah, if it's less than, if it's 12 months or less, then we don't have to account for it under GASB 96. So this would be more than 12 months, so I would have to account for it under GASB 96.
But they provide that software. so you can
They
do
do.
it.
So you're not.
That's how they get you.
So you're trying to get track of where that works.
It doesn't make any difference to me.
Well, if you do it 3 years, then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's fine. Then yeah, then we don't have to come back and do this again next year, as fun as it is.
Right. Just saying.
So what is the cost per year again? 61?
$6,142.50.
Okay. I'll move that we renew the debt book software for $61.42.50 on a 3-year agreement.
You put per year.
Per year, yeah, yes, 61.42.50 for each of the 3 years.
Motion by Mr. Potter, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Meyer, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Number 7, approve the agreement with Diversified Services Network for FY 2024 and FY 2023.
So this is an agreement for our cost allocation, audit and plan preparation with Diversified Services Network. This allows us to, he comes in and he takes all of our indirect costs and allocates them out by program. So this is how we are able to recover, our indirect costs through grants and other programs and charge them out, to the respective programs. So without this, we would lose out on hundreds of thousands of dollars of funding. So the cost of this is $4,875 per year, and it's a 5-year agreement. I believe it went up like $135. Yeah, $4,875.
That one go up?
Yeah, I think it was like $135. It went up, it was not,
Is that per year?
yes.
We just do that one year.
No, this one's for a 5-year agreement, so yeah, $135 is what it went up.
Would it be the same for each of the 5 years?
Yep.
Then if something's wrong, they will go to bat, or they will, similar to a CPA, when you have your taxes done, they will, or no?
I mean, he'll back up his, we've reached out to him before, like, hey, can you help us understand where these numbers come from, and.
All depending on the numbers you provide, already.
Right,
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
so he's on site for a couple of days to perform the audit, we provide a lot of things electronically in advance, and.
And they are like the only outfit that does this, you're happy with?
Yeah, I'm sure
Okay.
there's other outfits that do it, as far as I know, they're the company that we've been using forever, they've gone through different names, but,
I'll make a motion to accept the contract with DSN for 5 years at $4,875 per year.
Motion by Mr. Meyer, is there a second? I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Rate approval of invoices.
got some highlighted and I had time to ask you. So, on, Badger State Inc., partial payment on invoice for Ladysmith, is that Linden? For $32,211, disaster, other,
Oh,
whatever.
okay, so I believe,
Is it helpful if I say what account number it is?
I've got it pulled up here, so I believe that's one of the ARPA projects through public health. Let me just maybe attach the resolution in here. You know how, public health had those community ARPA projects?
Oh, yeah.
So it's one of those. Oh no, sorry. This one is it's our regular ARPA. Yes. That was the housing authority boiler
Oh,
upgrades
yeah,
that we had.
I remember that, okay. Okay, commercial testing lab, water testing, that's through HHS. There's 3 different months there. Is water testing for what?
So
Is
that's
that-
through public health,
Yeah,
and so it's part of like, when they do like the health inspections, they have to send in water samples for like restaurants and different, campgrounds. I believe that Airbnbs also have to do that.
so is that reimbursed then, if,
Yes, some of that is individual testing and some of it is paid for by, individual customers coming in. And then, land information or zoning, land conservation, one of their programs reimburses for some of it so that they can also have access to the data for like, being able to, like map nitrate concentrations.
okay,
So, yes,
okay.
but there's a lot of revenue that comes in from the public to Health and Human Services to pay for those water tests as well. I think they're like $30 a piece.
Alright. Okay. Full Throttle LLC, snowmobile repairs, but it's billed to HHS. I understand the
That's one of those
sheriff's
community
department.
ARPA projects for the Ladysmith Trails Association. They purchased,
Okay.
equipment to groom trails.
Okay. Alright. And then, just underneath that, there's a refund of a security deposit. Are we renting to an individual? or what?
Probably Trails End. So when they, or the fairgrounds, when they rent, they have to pay a security deposit so that if they, don't clean up after themselves or damage anything, they just take it out of there.
Figure out what that would be for. Okay. I've seen several, gift cards from Quick Trip for like victim services.
Yep.
HHS, Child and Family, Rutherford Victim Services, there's,
So that victim services, I believe, is the spending out of last year's BOCA grant in the sheriff's department, that one that decreasing from like 40,000 down to 13.
okay,
So her grant period runs through September or October, October 31st.
what's the purpose of these?
So they use those gift cards to help offset costs for the victims coming in to testify or meet with law enforcement.
Okay. Like mileage reimbursement, or would that be?
Yeah, so they don't give a mileage reimbursement, instead they give them a gas card.
Okay,
And they also have like, McDonald's and some cards that they,
okay, yep, and I think I've got more of those highlighted later, so, alright. So, Department of Ag
both.
So the Department of Ag is doing that, or is that a licensing thing, or, I mean,
They sense,
townships just contract with somebody to track beavers or whatever, so why, I don't get this.
that's how we do it, is through them, and they send someone to come.
That's a lot of money,
It is,
that's $10,000 there.
and that's just one payment, I think that,
So is that like dam removal and stuff like that too, or is it,
Culvert blockages, stuff like that.
okay,
Highway has, and I think Land and Water does something too, right?
yeah, forestry is one of them.
It's kinda tied in more than one department, I think, but it all gets reimbursed, doesn't it?
Um,
oh, does it?
I think some of it, but maybe not all of it.
yeah, I'm not sure about the highway, the one that's the 20461, I believe, that's a grant budget for forestry, so that would get reimbursed.
I remember on Land and Water, they said, but agreed for contract, maybe it was on highway,
It was
on highway, wasn't it?
land and water too.
Both, okay.
So there is some reimbursement for that.
I don't remember.
I don't know if there's reimbursement.
Thought there was in Land and Water, but I'm not sure on highway.
I think for forestry, it comes through the sustainable forestry grant.
I would assume if it's affecting a state road, that we should be able to bill it
Yeah,
out,
that would make sense.
but I don't know on the county roads.
Oh, the timber sale expense is actually where the forestry one hits. So that's the funding, that we stopped taking the grant for, we're spending out that fund balance. So that really is levy, or, an offset to the timber sale revenue.
Oh, okay. Okay. What does that amount to on a yearly basis?
So far this year. $6,044.52 in July. And then it was highway. Then July there was also forestry for $6,146.30. And then in October, November, there was another highway for $5,261.32.
Yep, that's the one that's here.
Yep, and then the forestry one,
There were two of them, 4,099 and 1,113.
so just this year alone, 22,664.89.
That's the last one, I think.
I got a couple here. Yeah, Catalyst Public Works. Invoice 308-317-347, annual website hosting, January to March 25. It says behind it, prepaid items, $1295.76. Doesn't see what department, oh, then
So
above
that's,
it,
it's IT.
above it says
That's our,
IT with the same invoice.
yes, so that's our annual website hosting, and so it goes from, that was an invoice that hadn't been paid for a while, and it actually started in April of 24 and goes through March of 25. So that's why it's split between expense and prepaids, because part of it goes into 2025, so we put it into prepaids, and then we move it to 2025 expense out of the
We
prepaids.
just paid it now.
That was part of our exercise a month or so ago, wasn't it?
I can't remember if this was part of that one or not, this might have been a separate.
It was part of that getting things correct.
And this
Um,
company What do you-
No, this was separate, this was unknown until,
Oh.
I think they reached out and, Ashley approved it to get paid right away, so that.
Our website will link the town.
So this is to run our website?
That is correct, yes.
Well, they're kinda dumb, they should've shut us down a long time ago.
Well, I'm glad they didn't.
I mean, if I had a bill out there from April, I'd have shut you down by July. I'm not sure I missed one like that. Back to Brian's comment, we're pretty sure that everything was up to date. Or is this counted in there, it just hadn't shown up yet on our approval?
Remains to be determined, I suppose.
I'm gonna assume this one didn't hit our radar.
Pardon?
I'm gonna assume this one didn't hit the radar.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of it.
Hopefully there's nothing else that's not.
Probably
That
I just jinxed us.
Did this get questioned in property? Or did it fly under the radar there?
I never heard it for this one.
Yeah, I don't think it was on
Well,
the
that
top
wasn't-
for these
yeah,
last
it
payment
was
approval
that.
report, cause it was like,
Yep.
after that would have been sent out.
Oh,
Cause this all went down at the very end of October, and I think we sent out that property payment approval report like a week in advance, so. Yeah, it would have been.
I move to approve the invoices.
Motion by Mr. Collins to approve the invoices. Second.
How did it carry?
I'll second. Second by Mr. Redway. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Okay, out of county travel,
I do not have any, Penny, do you have?
I do.
You do?
Okay, number 11, administrative coordinator report. Light 'em up.
Okay, so, let's see what I have first. Okay, update from the personnel committee, so the WPPA requested to reschedule negotiations that were originally set for this morning. So the new date for negotiations is December 3rd at 8 AM, so no update on that. From joint management, mold remediation was completed out at 501 Dowdy. Brett went out there and realized that a toilet had been leaking. So that was at a cost of $3,200, and just a reminder, that building has been vacant for months. The city has also started construction on an infill building connecting Forest 1 and Forest 2. At the joint management meeting yesterday, we discussed that that probably should have gone through county board and city council first before construction started. So at your December 17th meeting, there will be a resolution outlining that the city is paying for the costs of that infill building.
Okay, they're gonna pay for it, so what? Then they're gonna throw it back on us?
They're paying for the infill building and they're paying for all utilities out there. Right now, construction is scheduled to be complete by June of 25, I believe, June 30th, 25. So the city will pick up the tab on all utilities between now and then, and all construction costs. At that time, then, Indec will move into the combined building, and the rent agreement for them will be strictly the utilities from July 1 to the end of the year. Just because to accommodate them, the cost of moving from their current building, which Henry Rifle is purchasing and moving into. So they're making that move voluntarily because of Henry purchasing this other building. And, then beginning January 1 of 26, and I can't remember the numbers, but the lease agreement begins at that point where they would be paying rent.
I'm assuming that was all in writing.
No, none of it is in writing, that's why we talked about yesterday bringing a resolution to the board and the council.
Those numbers are in writing, they were at the last meeting, I believe. I've got it in here somewhere.
So this is it under my assumption the board, county board could have last word on this?
It's Rich's opinion that the county board should have had the first word on it, but
Correct.
that ship is kind of
So
sailed.
again, we're being bamboozled into something.
Yeah, I can't. Already happened, I don't know
Well,
what to say.
you know, okay, it already happened, I get it, but can it be stopped? Or are we just gonna keep letting the city tell us what to do and we just get stuck with what we're at now? That's my point to you.
Well, isn't this fill-in building thing, that's all city, they're responsible for
Right,
everything,
they've obtained a grant for the construction of that infill building.
and they're going to maintain it and pay.
Once it's complete, then it becomes part of that building, which is all jointly owned. It still would be a jointly owned building once that's complete.
Sucked the wind right out of you, didn't we there, Terry?
Cause it becomes one building.
It just, better.
So right now the two buildings are connected?
They are not
No.
connected. They will be connected,
Right, but are they owned jointly now?
yes.
What's
Yes.
that project costing, you know?
Close to $1 million. It's like 900 some thousand. And they got full funding for it.
Couldn't have been used for the animal shelter.
No, it's for that, yeah.
Had to throw that in.
No, but this is one of them silent agreements that they never told us about, and now here
Yes,
it
they
is,
did.
and we're already building.
It should have been, the county should have been filled in on this way back when they were applying for a grant.
Correct, and it's not your fault or.
It should have
committee's
been, that communication line should have been open months ago, last year probably. I don't know how long it takes to obtain a grant, but you know it's not 2 weeks.
I know I was at one of the meeting points, and the remark was made by Mr. Senior when that particular conversation came up, and he said, we're not talking about that, that doesn't need to be discussed right now. I heard that in the meeting, and our previous committee never pushed anything, so shame on them, because now we're in this position where we should be.
Right.
So again, my point is, how long will you keep playing the city's game?
So, yeah. So what if the board was to vote no on this?
I think the board should.
Maybe isn't there an event
There's
going
proper
on a joint managed property
There's proper
also?
procedure and protocol for a reason. Why do they feel exempt? They don't have to follow it.
Well, right, but isn't there, I keep hearing rumors about an event that's being planned on joint owned
That's
property
on
also?
the corner of Dowdy and 27, correct? And how did that get approved and we weren't even invited on?
That never came forward on that.
I know, that's another one of them, shh, don't tell no one.
Yes.
You know, I'm not trying to.
No, that one is a whole, I just realized that myself not too long
Aren't,
ago.
isn't the county like partially responsible for the liability if something was to happen there?
We carry the insurance, am I correct, Jamie? And from my understanding is, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know exactly the full details, but somebody rented the property and then subcontracted it to the event people, which technically still leaves us liable in the end if somebody gets hurt.
The only way that could even be pulled off is if there was something in the contract allowing them to sublease the property after they rented it from the county.
Joint management hasn't seen a contract on it.
Joint management hasn't seen anything on any of it. There's been no mention of it.
The county should be saying no on
Well,
both
according
these
to,
things.
according to the city, they already approved it because it's all over Facebook next year, July 25th? July 25th, the event's being held there. I think you probably put that on the agenda.
Oh, it's gonna be on the agenda next time.
Oh, okay, sorry, didn't mean to blow this one out, but.
It's
It's
okay.
okay.
Okay, so ad hoc construction update, RFQ responses for construction of a storage facility out of the highway shop are due back on December 4th. And the chair of the ad hoc construction committee has authorized interviews be set with that committee for December 9th, with a time still to be determined. It'll be in the afternoon though.
Okay, December 9th.
December 9th, Monday, December 9th, yep. And then as far as the hospital site goes, property will be interviewing the respondent to the latest RFP at their December 4th meeting. Lake Avenue updates, Chair Caleb, as the property chair, approved some signage to go on the, Oakleaf building. It includes, their logo, and then they also wanted the address a little bit bigger on the sign out by the roadway. Also, the county received the David G. Meisner Award on November 13th. The honor is awarded by the Wisconsin Policy Forum for a public-private cooperation to a partnership to achieve a worthwhile public policy goal. So, that is a great accomplishment that this board did back in April, and then signing the lease with Oakleaf in May. So that is what the award was for Best County and Oakleaf partnering together.
It's my understanding is the award's still sitting in Milwaukee because they're not sure how to ship it yet because it's glass and it's one of a kind award. Can't remake it.
Really?
I wonder if they
So-
can send
Uber
it to someone, cause I'm going to a conference in Houston that first
Yeah,
week in December.
that's what John said, if one of us could pick it up if we're down there.
Yeah, well, I mean, 'cause somebody,
Middleton's a little.
no, but I'm saying it's a WGFOA conference, so somebody might be able to
Bring it with.
Yeah.
Either way, that was my recommendation after talking to Ashley today, is, you know, if I have to drive halfway, we can meet halfway. I'm a little scared now to send it through a package
Mm-hmm.
because it can't be remade, so I don't want it to show up in pieces on, you know, behalf of the county and then bring back nothing but a pile of glass. So, she was gonna reach back out when she got time to figure out something else if need be. Either way, I don't care, I'll drive and walk it, get her and really have it, doesn't bother me. So. Is that it?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Clerk's report.
So, November election, we had, 8,575 pre-registered, we had 8,304 that voted, which was a 96.84%.
Wow.
8,304 that voted, 96.84%. A lot of municipalities had huge amounts of new registration, so, Terry can tell you how many we had.
Well, that's quite an increase from last time, huh?
Well, there was 85, 70, yeah, oh, absolutely, but everything's increased, yeah. It was a very, very good turnout. We ordered 120%, ballots, and, I mean, we had, so typically they bring them back in, so then we have to get rid of them after so many days.
the printer that was purchased were, a few ballots for one municipality, she just was gun shy, and so printed out a few more for her, and then, the city, I went, she requested 1,400, I did request 1,600, we upped it by another 200, and then she had me print another 200 ballots, but she only had, so I ordered her 1,600, and she had 1,518, so I was right in the ballpark. I shouldn't have printed the other 200, but I did, so, yeah. And then the dog license, Dawn has sent out, fines if they don't get their license paid. There's a lot of people coming in, and paying their dog license, it was $30 late fee yet, so everybody's catching up on that. We're getting ready for the new year, opening in, coming in January with, the treasurers will be picking up all their stuff so that they can relicense again for the new year. And then, I'm not sure what to do with the open record software, as far as, where part of my job is to ensure compliance with the freedom of information request, and I'm kinda getting a little bit of pushback, and I'm not sure how to handle it, so I'm looking for your guidance on how to handle it, cause I'd like to put it in the system because I'm responsible for it. So I don't know if it's getting answered correctly if I don't get the response. And everybody else is doing it, it's just one part. Not sure how to handle it. Supposed to do my job, or you think she do it?
So explain this.
Yeah, what, is this the stuff you handed out?
I did. So what I'm trying to do is make sure everything's in that system so that everything's accounted for. So if there's an open records, I can't tell somebody to directly go to a department. That software is on our website. So when people have an open records request, they're gonna go there and they're gonna request it, right?
Okay.
So then I'll copy and paste it if somebody, or it actually notifies them that they've got an open records request, and when you get one, it pops up, and I get everybody's.
Okay.
So, I watch everything, cause I mean, we have to answer it in so many days, unless we can't find the information or whatever, so you try to, I wanna stay up with it, I don't wanna get behind. And so, I have one department that insists on not using that software, which I understand, they have their own, but if they would just copy me in the response, I'll put it in that software, then I have that in my possession, so that if I get another request, if somebody didn't answer it, cause I'm the one that's liable for it. And if it goes to court, I have to go to court.
Okay.
So I'm asking how to handle the situation.
So is he saying his software doesn't jive with your software?
It doesn't matter that it jives, I just, like I said, all I want was to, would it be possible if you would just include me in the response to the open records request, and then I'll put it in the software. I mean, I do that for a lot of people, I did it for forestry, because some of them don't know how to use it, and that's okay. So I'd rather keep up on it, and, so they won't give me the reply, and they will not give me any.
Why is the sheriff's department not using the same software that we?
They're refusing.
Why?
I don't know, it's not for
Did we
me.
buy it for the sheriff's department? Wasn't that an option?
It does redacting and everything, they have their own.
But that was an option, and they chose not to participate in it, correct?
Yes, but everybody can participate in it, doesn't matter. They have their own software, I understand that part, I just wanna be put in the reply to put it in my stuff so that I'm complying, I know that everything's getting complied with.
So an open records request, the sheriff isn't liable for those. You are, as
Yeah,
the
it's
clerk.
right here in the, it's right here in the Wisconsin Counties Association. It says right in here that I'm liable for it. I gave you everything I had.
Ensure compliance with the Freedom of Information Clause. Is one of the duties.
It is my duty.
I just don't know why they don't CC you.
I don't know, that's,
I guess I don't understand what the big deal is.
I don't know.
Again, if you send that kind of money on software, you gotta know, it seems kind of.
So what could you put in your system per sheriff's department, this is closed? Or
So,
consult sheriff's
so-
department?
well, I'm still responsible though. So, I don't know if they're answering it. I don't know what they're doing. So, let's say that, the newspaper wants an open records request that was answered by the sheriff's department. It's my job to find it.
Okay.
It's my job to figure it out. It's not, I mean, everybody helps out with it because, I mean, Jamie has stuff that I can't answer that Jamie can answer. Ashley can answer things that I can't answer. They have the different information and whether, you know, and then I go to Rich and say, can we hand this out? Can we do this? So, I mean, I need the information so that I know that it's getting answered because the bottom line is it's my responsibility. But I can't get the information from them.
Why is it so confidential?
I just wanna be CC'd in the reply and then I'll put it in there. They don't wanna use it, that's fine, I'll put it in there. That's my whole point.
So bottom line you're saying is if somebody asks you an open record request, the sheriff's department, and if they answer and or don't answer it, you can't see it. You have no idea if it even gets taken care of in
Right.
the first place because you have no paper trail
Right.
to follow.
No,
When they could just CC you into it and you'd have a paper trail to follow between
Yes.
both sides of it.
yes,
And if somebody was to ask that same question in the future, it's already there
yes.
on both sides if
Right.
needed.
And Ashley keeps pretty, I mean, she watches too, we both do, the two of us. I mean, we're both watching that because, you know, if we can get an answer, we're gonna do it, so.
Okay, so
Basically what I'm saying though is
So
that-
according to
that-
Sheriff Wallace's letter to you in August, the GovQA software, they appear to have some trouble uploading material to it.
It's really simple.
So is it,
All you do
do they have an kind of media that they're trying to upload? Or
Well,
is it just a
so I
matter
don't-
of being
I don't,
trained to do it properly or what?
I mean, it's a pretty sweet program.
Okay, so,
There's
so,
nothing it won't.
I think we're overthinking this. This is an open records request, right? And they're doing a report on an open records request, correct?
So just CC me in the report.
Okay, and they're refusing to CC you in the report. So turn around and do an open records request on the report.
I'm not gonna do that.
Why not? They gotta give it to you.
It's you, but why wouldn't you?
Why would we just?
Well, they're being dumb by not just copying it in the first place, so now the report's out there. The
Right.
report's been given to someone in the public
All I'm asking is that I get.
that
CC.
anyone's entitled to.
I just,
Correct, but she shouldn't have to go chase it. It's already
Right,
here.
right.
I get it,
So,
but,
why wouldn't we just say, plain and simple, CC and everything, be done with this?
well, good luck with that.
Well, I get it,
What I'm
but-
reading here, I don't see.
Yeah,
Wait,
it's
these
like-
emails are pretty,
pretty,
these emails are kinda borderline shitty, if you ask me the way they're worded, but.
and I have not done that. You notice I did not do that. I will not do that.
Maybe I'm misinterpreting their intent after reading them, but.
I just don't think she should have to chase it based on the fact that we've got $10,000 software. and we just refuse it.
You just say
This
CC
email's
in,
from today,
yeah,
from this morning.
I just don't know what to do with it anymore. And I will not take direction from that person, just so you know.
Ashley, have you talked to Sheriff Wallace on this at all?
I did, yes.
And,
He said that he would come and talk to Conley about it.
well, it's been going on since, what, August? Time to take,
Probably before
time
that.
to take his time,
Oh,
cause it just escalates by him dragging his feet.
right, in his defense, I just spoke with him like 2 hours ago, so maybe he is gone for the day.
So if it's a PDF, all you do is grab it, you go to attachment, you grab it and you just drop it in there and upload it, that's it. If it's a file, like if there's an email, it even picks up an email that somebody is emailing you about that's not even, how do I explain that one? It's, if they're asking a question about the open records, it picks it up off your email and puts it in there even. It's that good. I can grab it, I can do so many things, and sometime I'll show you,
Well, to your point, if they don't wanna put it in, fine, but I don't know what the big deal is about them sending it to you and then you have it, and if you can't get it in the system,
that's my problem.
then that's your problem.
Then I'll start a different file, and I
But
would.
it looks like their issue is when people go online and they have an open records request for the sheriff's department,
How do
they're
I
going through.
stop them?
You can't, you
That's my
can't, so I
point.
mean,
That's my point.
it,
This is crazy.
right, it is,
Thank you.
it is.
I can't stop people from asking. I can't do that.
Is this something that I should put on next month's agenda, cause there's really nothing on this month's agenda that will allow any action to be taken on it anyway?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just say, maybe you two can come to a consensus,
If they
work it out.
come to their consensus by then we'll take that on. But otherwise, I think that's okay. Cat's out of the bag.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Is that it, Connie?
That is it.
Finance director report.
Okay, the final version of the budget is out on our website. If you go to departments, finance, there's like 8 years worth of budgets out there. So finally coming down a little bit after that. We're working with Ashley Goodis on getting open enrollment changes made through everything and getting ready for, the year-end stuff. Pretty much it.
Short and sweet.
Mhm.
Okay. Review amend future committee meeting dates.
So the next meeting I'm showing would be Thursday, December 19th at 3 o'clock. Does that work?
Okay,
Thursday, December 19th at 3 o'clock.
so now.
You guys bring the Christmas meal.
Does that work for everybody?
Yep.
Yeah.
3 o'clock?
Okay, before we. She did something else in here.
You go back to GMC one.
Yeah,
A drunk driver hit, one of our maintenance trucks,
Oh my
so
gosh.
it's an insurance claim.
Right out here, just down in the parking lot, the health care. Right? The health care.
Yeah.
we're trying to park maybe. Maybe they're trying to park and get off the road.
I think it was parked along the sidewalk there, very well.
There's a million outlets back there.
done. Now it's getting right on here.
Wait, not me.
Oh, yeah, hey, you done signing the bills?
I can sign them after you adjourn, if that's what you want to do. I'm down to the last one.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Condon, I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Huh?
You can't just.
We'll do it along the way. I just stopped by some milk and I couldn't.
Thank you.
Surprised they made it through the meeting.